We are living inside a phase that looks like failure from the outside and recognition from within. Systems strain, relationships shift. Narratives that once felt stable begin to loosen at the edges. The instinct is to call this breakdown. But what if collapse is not the end of something working? What if it is the moment something hidden can no longer stay hidden? Collapse is often mistaken for destruction because it removes familiarity faster than it provides clarity. The scaffolding disappears before the new structure is visible. This creates the sensation of groundlessness, the feeling that nothing can be trusted because what once felt reliable no longer holds. Yet this stage is not absence, it is exposure. What collapses first is rarely reality. It is the story about reality. The assumptions that allowed complexity to feel manageable. The agreements we made, quietly, collectively, about what was safe to see and what was easier to ignore. When those agreements loosen, the experience can feel disorienting, even personal. But the movement itself is structural. The function of collapse is revelation. Pressure reveals fault lines that were always present, but distributed across time, responsibility, and perception. Collapse gathers those lines into visibility. It concentrates what was diffuse. What appears sudden is often accumulated. This is why collapse produces grief alongside relief. Something real is being lost, not truth, but the illusion that truth could remain distant from daily life. The nervous system registers both the loss of certainty and the return of coherence. We feel destabilized because we are reorganizing around what is actually there. In this phase, the impulse is to seek answers quickly, to replace one stable explanation with another. But collapse does not immediately provide meaning. Its first offering is orientation. It changes where we stand, not what we conclude. Stability begins to shift from external assurance to internal recognition. What becomes possible after collapse is subtler than resolution. Attention sharpens. Tolerance for contradiction increases. The need for spectacle decreases. People begin to sense patterns rather than react to events. This does not feel like certainty. It feels like steadiness without full understanding. Collapse also redistributes responsibility. When structures no longer absorb tension, individuals feel more of what was previously buffered. This can appear as overwhelm, but it is also the return of agency. Awareness expands before capacity catches up. The interval between the two is where much of this era is being lived. Not everything that collapses was harmful. Some things were simply incomplete. Collapse makes refinement unavoidable. It reveals which foundations were decorative and which were load-bearing. The process is less about tearing down than about discovering what can remain. The function of collapse is not chaos. It is reorganization that cannot occur while old coherence is maintained. The visible disruption is the surface expression of deeper alignment. Systems, relationships, and identities adjust at different speeds, which is why the period feels uneven. But uneven does not mean directionless. What steadies people during collapse is not answers. It is the recognition that confusion is a phase, not a verdict. That disorientation can be evidence of movement rather than failure. Stability begins to look less like certainty and more like the ability to remain present while clarity forms. We are not watching everything fall apart. We are watching the distance between appearance and reality narrow. Collapse closes that distance. It removes the space where illusion could function without friction. The function of collapse is simple, even if the experience is not. To make what is real unavoidable, and to create the conditions where something truer can be built without pretending the previous structure was whole.